On February 28th, the United States and Israel launched a massive, coordinated military offensive targeting military and government sites deep inside Iran. The very first day of those strikes resulted in the death of Iran's supreme leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, in Tehran. The regime immediately moved to replace him, elevating his son, Mujtaba Khamenei, to take control of the country. By instantly eliminating the long-standing architect of Iran's military strategy, the offensive triggered a volatile succession crisis at the exact moment the region was pushed into full-scale conflict. This map illustrates Iran's immediate military retaliation. You can see vectors of drone and missile attacks radiating outward, hitting targets in Israel, regional U.S. bases, and several Gulf nations. At the same time, Israel expanded its own long-running strike campaign. They pushed ground operations into southern Lebanon, intensifying their assault against the Iran-backed Hezbollah militia. The chaos quickly spilled across borders, leading to localized violence like the abduction of American journalist Shelley Kittleson by militants in Iraq, which raises a critical question. Why did the United States choose this exact moment to risk sparking a massive, multi-front conflict across the Middle East? This regional fallout is a calculated cost. The U.S. administration determined that absorbing these retaliatory strikes right now was necessary to prevent a far more severe threat down the line. Secretary of State Marco Rubio outlined the administration's strategic rationale for the preemptive war. The core premise of their argument is straightforward. The U.S. government maintains there is zero doubt that Iran is actively attempting to build a nuclear weapon. This is the conventional shield. Iran is arranging mass-produced drones and missiles into a dense defensive perimeter around its nuclear program. This deterrent aims to be so thick no foreign military can breach it. If completed, the world permanently loses the ability to dismantle it. The timing of the February strikes was driven by this closing window. The U.S. military aimed to wipe out that conventional shield before it could become fully operational. This doctrine directly dictates the targets of the current American and Israeli offensives. We see this in action with the U.S. military obliteration of an ammunition depot in Isfahan, a deliberate move to degrade Iran's conventional weapons stockpile. Israel's aggressive clearing operations in Lebanon serve a similar function, systematically dismantling Iran's regional proxy defenses on the ground. The widespread destruction stretching from Isfahan to Beirut serves one highly focused objective: tearing down Iran's protective infrastructure before the regime goes nuclear. Historically, U.S. military interventions in the Middle East have been long, drawn-out affairs, focused on regime change, nation-building, or securing complex diplomatic treaties. President Donald Trump has issued a completely different directive. He has stated clearly that the United States will not seek any diplomatic deal or treaty with the new Iranian regime. The administration's plan is strictly mechanical. Once they feel they have bombed Iran's nuclear and conventional capabilities into the Stone Ages, they intend to unilaterally end the operation and leave in just 2 or 3 weeks. The U.S. has entirely abandoned the concept of post-war stabilization, treating this conflict purely as a finite, high-speed demolition job. Looking at this map of the Strait of Hormuz, you can see the economic vulnerability exposed by this hit-and-run strategy. A massive volume of the world's commercial shipping funnels right through this narrow geographic choke point. As a retaliatory measure, Iran is already attempting to block these lanes and choke the flow of commercial vessels carrying oil and gas. The president has made a controversial declaration regarding this blockade. When the U.S. military pulls out in a few weeks, it will leave the security of the strait entirely up to other nations, specifically suggesting countries like France handle it themselves. The message to the international community is stark. Countries that rely on Middle Eastern energy must now be prepared to deploy their own military forces to defend their commercial ships. The U.S. is permanently trading its long-standing role as the guarantor of global shipping security for the immediate destruction of Iran's conventional shield, leaving the rest of the world to navigate the chaotic aftermath entirely on their own.